All right, everybody, this is going to be notes on equations of circles. I find this pretty simple. You just need to know these three things, R, H, and K, when looking at the formula, which is spelled right here. It is always written in standard form. So here we have x minus h in parentheses squared plus y minus k parentheses and then squared, and then your radius squared. Okay, so the big first important thing that I need you guys to understand, and this is going to be extremely important, this is where the biggest mistake is made, that minus. Okay, I'll get back to that in just a second, but here the h is going to be your the h and the k represent your center. The h, comma, k, those two numbers are going to be the coordinates for your center point right here at the center. The r squared, r is going to be your radius. You're going to see what happens. You can't just take this number and go, okay, that's your radius because of that squared. Now the big thing with these minuses that you have to remember, whichever way you're going, whether I give you the center or whether you're writing the equation, this is the most important thing to remember with these numbers. You must change the sign. Okay, if I give you the center and it's two positives, you need to have minuses. If I give you two negatives, you need to make these pluses. Okay, same thing as if I give you this equation, it's a minus 5, you need to make sure you put positive 5, and we'll see that throughout here. So we're going to note here, must change the sign of H and K. Okay, positive, you need to finish. So whenever you're looking at a circle on a graph, which we're going to do in a minute, right here you need to realize this is going to be the center. So the coordinates, I know there's not a graph behind this one, but the coordinates of this, the x coordinate will be h, which go right here, and the y coordinate will be this lowercase k, which is going to go right here. Then to find the radius, it's pure and simple. You just count how many units to the edge of that circumference right there, and that's going to be your radius. Now, the next section is asked us a couple questions. What do you notice about H and K as the center point and as they are in the circle equation? So being here at the center point and then going on here, ends up happening is we can just answer this short and sweet as answering for A, H, okay, is represented as an x coordinate in this set of coordinates, and it's also being subtracted from x. So the h goes with x. So we can put that short and sweet here. H is an x coordinate. You'll want to pause this after the end because it's going to be a lot. It is an x coordinate and subtracted from x. Okay, so it's an x coordinate because it's on the left and it's subtracted from x. And then your k is a y coordinate, might run out of room here. It's a y coordinate and is subtracted from y. Please pause that and finish writing that before you move on to B, the second question. B is asking what happens to the radius of a circle in the equation. So you have the radius, you count this. What happens once we put it into the equation? Well, that's where that squared is very important. So B, short, real short and sweet, square the radius. Okay, get that finished and then move on to the equations. So here we're going to write these equations, all right? First of all, because I like to use my different colors, which I would suggest grabbing a couple colors for this, one for H and K, one for radius like I did up here. Okay, we're going to take our equations. We're going to have x minus h, sorry, h is in blue, and then outside the parentheses squared, plus y minus k squared, all equal to your radius squared. So I'm going to be using these two colors for my center and for my radius. So here, we're going to be filling in the h, the k, and the r. Let's see how easy this can be. So we're looking at the center at 4, -2. 4 is your h, negative 2 is the k. The radius is 6. Now keep in mind, this is, oh, wrong color. This is r. Okay, this is your radius. In our equation, we want radius squared. So what we need to do is we need to take the radius and square it. 36 is the number that we're going to put into this equation. We don't put 6 squared. We have to actually perform that operation. So here we take a look at this. We're going to have x. Now keep in mind this is a minus the x, or the h, which is a positive 4. So we just go with minus 4. Again, remember, must change the sign of h and k. So here I've changed it to a negative 4. Close the parentheses, please don't forget that square. Then we go to plus, I'm using my wrong colors again, so this is my OCD, minus 4. And now we're going to go to y minus k. Now keep in mind, we have a negative 2. Minus a negative is going to change to a plus. Must change the sign of h and k. So k is a negative 2. We now want to make it a plus or positive 2 squared, all equal to our radius squared, which was 36. And there's your equation. That's all you have to do. I encourage you to try the next one on your own. You know, it's the exact same thing. Follow the rules of squaring the radius before you put it in the equation and changing the signs of h and k. So here's h, here's k. Our radius is 7. We want radius squared, so we put 49 in that equation. So let's start it off. X, we want minus the x. Well, change the sign. Now we want a plus 2 squared plus y, change the sign of k to a plus 3 squared. And then we've already figured out what our radius squared is of 49, and there's our equation. Now we're going to go the other direction, and we're going to grab the numbers out, and we're going to figure out, okay, what's our center and what's our radius? So here we're going to take our center. All we need to do is we need to identify where our h and our k is. Well, here's our h, here's our k. Again, no matter which direction we are going, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot bring your attention enough up here to the top. You must change those signs of the h and k, one of the biggest mistakes made. So with my center, I'm seeing a minus 3, change it to a positive 3. Okay? Over here, the k, I'm seeing minus 5, change it to a positive 5, and you have your center. Now with your radius, we need to understand that this is your radius squared as it shows in our formula. So all we have to do is say, okay, our radius squared is equal to 16. We need to undo the exponent by taking the square root, and your radius is 4. The next one here, again, here is our h, here is our k. Our center, we're going to change the signs. H is at a positive 2, we change it to a negative 2. K is at a positive 7, we change it to a negative 7. We have our center. Look how easy that was, guys. Here, we remember that this is radius squared. So if your radius squared is 9, take the square root of both sides. Your final radius is going to be 3. All right, let's take these guys and let's put them on a graph. All right, because that's what we're doing here. We're looking at coordinates and graphs. The first one, we're going to take this. We have to find the center, we have to find the radius, and then we're going to graph it. I'm going to show you all those little baby steps. First things first, let's go through exactly what we just did. Find the center. Okay, h and k. Our center is going to be negative 3, change it to positive 3. Negative 5, change it to a positive 5. So here's our center. So let's go to positive 3, positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be our center. Remembering that the 16 is your radius squared. Radius squared, we are going to square root it to undo the exponent. and find that our radius is 4. With that being said, we go all 4 directions. Okay, we're going to go left, right, up, and down 4 units and put a little dot. So start from the center, 1, 2, 3, 4. Top, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what we do is, it's okay if it's not perfect. We're going to do the best we can to connect these into a circle. Here we go, roundabout, connecting them all, and we just graph the circle of that equation. All right, let's do it again. Here's your H and your K. Your center will be located. That was a +2. Change it to -2. +7. Change it to -7. We have our center. Go at -2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -7. Here is our center. Usually the center I will make really big, and the points of the radius, as you can see, a little bit smaller. This is your radius squared. So radius squared is going to be 9. We take that square root. Radius is only 3. So we're going to go 3 in each direction. And then we will connect them the best we can. Smaller the circle, a little bit easier it is. And they're never perfect, but there you go. So that's graphing. Now we're going to go the other direction. I'm going to give you the circle. We are going to identify everything and then put it in the equation. So, finding the center. Best way to find the center is just figure out where everything lines up. So here's where the top and the bottom line up, and then figure out where it lines up with the left and right and find that center point. Okay? So here is your center. Your center I see from the origin is +1. 1, 2, 3, -3 on the y. So up here, your center is at 1, -3. Your radius, now all you have to do is just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on that one right there. That being said, your radius is 6. We go up here. Now, we remember that in our equation, the big thing with the radius is we have to square it to get what we're going to have in our equation, okay? With the rest of it, remembering that we have our x minus h plus x squared, x, all that stuff. Let's save some time. We're going to go ahead and go x. Now we want to change the sign. Take h, 1, change the sign. -1 squared plus y. We had a -3. We now want to change the sign to a +3 squared, all equal to the radius squared. So we're all right here on this line. There is our equation. Next, again, just figure out where these. Now, this is an interesting one. We need to understand that our center is at 0, 0. Okay? Which means when we're adding and subtracting, we're not going to have anything there, okay? Because we don't say +0, -0. But let's get that in here in a second. Your radius right here, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So your radius is 4. Let's go ahead and fill those in up here. The radius is going to equal 4. Now again, when we're taking our x plus or minus anything, I'm going to actually write the full equation over here. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys this. If you have x and you're minusing 0, okay, squared plus y minusing 0 squared, we're going to set this equal to, we're going to take this radius, we're going to square it and get 16. We don't say 5 plus 0, 7 minus 0, unless you are in pre-K or kindergarten. So we just drop those off, and we just end up, all of this right here goes away except for the x squared. So now we just have x squared plus, again, now if this had a 5 or 7 or 3, we'd leave it. But because they're both 0, we're going to drop both of them off, and then we have equals 16. This is our final answer. If you have any other questions, you can search YouTube for equations of circles or ask your teacher.